Hey there Facebook, it's Vanessa here again, your motivational speaker, trainer and head coach at Live, Love, Give. And today's message is another interesting one, and it comes from off the back end of my birthday yesterday, and a question that my dad actually asked me at lunch yesterday. We're having a bit of a family get together and lunch, and he actually asked me, okay, so Vanessa, what's been the best time of your life? Like, when was that? What age were you when it was the best time of your life? And I've been asked this question before in my past, and it's always been the same answer. I've always said, oh, when I was 19, and you know, my best friend came and moved in with me, and it was just the two of us, and we were living interstate from our families, and we kind of went a bit wild and crazy and just had a bunch of fun. And I've always named that as just like, oh, if only I could go back to when I was 19 and just have all that fun all over again. And it only hit me yesterday when my dad triggered me with this question that I actually didn't answer that way. And I actually said, you know what? Like, the best time of my life is actually right now. I've never had such a level of freedom, such a level of feeling like I am determining my own life, creating my own life path, and being as authentic as I've ever been, having the best quality of relationship I've ever had with myself right now. And it was a funny thing because I was kind of like, oh, I'm leaving my 20s behind, and you know, what is it, you know, downhill? Everybody says, oh, it's downhill from here, and it so didn't feel like that. So that's why I wanted to bring this message to you guys today in terms of, you know, how to make the best time of your life right now, because ultimately that's all we have. And when I was thinking about, you know, when I was 19 being the best time of my life, if I'm really honest and reflecting back to that time, all that was a time for me in my life where I was so unsure of myself that I was completely distracting myself and going out and partying and just, you know, just living to party. And ultimately at that time in my life, I never thought I'd be able to pull away from the party scene and the fun scene. And you know, my friend and I at the time used to joke that we'd be like 70 years old sneaking out from our husbands to go and party, you know. And it was a fun time, but when you're in it, you don't often realize what's really going on. And now upon reflection, and when you tap into new layers of your authenticity, you can reflect back on your life and you can see what was actually really going on for yourself at that time. And for me, it was definitely a world of distraction, and everybody that I was surrounded by, they were just distracting themselves from lives that they weren't fulfilled in as well. And it was a real eye-opener to just sort of come up with that yesterday, that, oh my gosh, like, now is the best time of my life, and I would have never ever guessed that. And yeah, so that's the message that I want to bring to you. But today I want to take you through a model that I've discovered over my self-development journey, which is, you know, looking at all of the best, like all of my greatest mentors, you know, the biggest inspirational mentors out there that I've learnt from and studied from. And what I came to discover is that there are 4 cornerstones of empowerment that will lead you to creating an extraordinary quality of life. And all of those greats, their journey fits into all of these 4 cornerstones. So I'm definitely going to share that with you now. Just wanted to start it off with that message. I'm a tiny bit seedy today because I had a beautiful birthday yesterday, but I don't usually drink that much, and it was lots and lots of fun. But yeah, so if my energy is a bit low, you know why. And Nick, thank you for joining, and Osama, and Manu, and Miron, and Aaron, and Joseph, awesome, and Ibrahima, and Anyeta, and Manolo, and Hakim, Car, Philip, Anne, Peter, Elf, Moises, awesome, you guys are so good, and Walter, and Carolina. Awesome to have you guys. And I want to just take this quick moment here to just say thank you so much to all of you for your birthday messages. I haven't got back to anybody just yet, but I'm so truly grateful for all of you out there who just, it's once a year and you feel really special. So I appreciate all of you who reached out and wished me that happy birthday, whether it was on a message or on my wall or whatever. Some of you even sent me videos, and I'm so grateful that you spend your time to do that. So thank you so much. And Michael, Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so guys, I want to introduce you to those 4 cornerstones. Now, these are so powerful that if you're willing to work with me here, we can do like a quick live sort of training session right now where I want you to be engaged. So grab a piece of paper or a pen, or just dump your answer into the comment sections here. And what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to introduce you to each of the 4 cornerstones. And as I go through each of them, I want you to give yourself a rating from 0 to 10 as to how much you feel you got this cornerstone covered. So I hope this is going to be valuable to you guys, and I hope that you're willing to engage and interact and actually follow through on this training, whether it's now or in the recording. So definitely jump into the comments and let me know as we move through. So the first cornerstone of empowerment and leading you towards creating an extraordinary quality of life, that all of the greatest fall into each of these categories, like I said earlier. The first one is consciousness. And this is all about knowing deeply who you are, what you want, and having a level of emotional intelligence to be able to make a situation better rather than worse based on your input to it. So do you guys get that, what I'm explaining about consciousness? I want you to ask yourself, how much, on a scale of 0 to 10, how well do I feel I really know the real me? And I really know what I really want. I'm emotionally attached to it. And I'm in control of my reactions to any given situation. And I know that I can make a situation better rather than worse by my input. So a 10 would mean I totally know who I am. I totally know what I want. And I make every situation better because of my input to it. Okay, so that's a 10. A 0 would be I totally do not know who the hell I am. I have no idea what I want. Maybe you feel like you're just living this life of obligation, expectation. You're just so disconnected from yourself and you feel really reactive. You're really triggered easily, whatever the circumstance. So definitely, guys, jump into the comments and let me know. Work along with me for this one. This is a bit of a different session today. And tell me, for the first cornerstone of consciousness, give me a 0 to 10 rating as to where you are. And if you want to go a level deeper, ask yourself, why have you given yourself that rating? All right, so thank you so much for joining, you guys. Tatiana, thank you for your birthday wishes. And Joseph, thank you. And Rian and Mohammed and Judy, thank you for joining. And Anne, thank you so much. You're a 9 with consciousness. That is awesome. And that's what's funny is I don't think I could ever give myself a 10 anywhere, because I always feel like we're constantly evolving and progressing, and there's always a new level to access. So I love that you're giving yourself a 9, which is awesome, Anne. And anybody else, just pop in your comments below. Give yourself a rating. When you do the work here, when you know firstly where you are, then we determine where you want to get to. Now all of a sudden you can close the gap and actually feel the progress and have the clarity. So it's a really powerful process, whether you go through this with me right here, right now, or later on in your own time. I challenge you to do it. All right, and awesome. And Graham, thank you so much. Love having you here. And Ali, thank you. And so, okay, so that was the first cornerstone, consciousness. The second cornerstone of empowerment to lead you towards a quality, an extraordinary quality of life is courage. So this is all about, okay, have you established what you do want and and who you really are? Now courage comes into play. How much courage and confidence do you have in yourself to take the action to align with the truth of who you are and to move in the direction of what you want to create? So there's that courage piece. And I want you to, again, give yourself a rating from 0 to 10. 0 being, I have 0 courage. I am so scared to move forward. I am stuck in procrastination and I don't know where to go. Versus a 10, which is, F yeah, I'm going for it. I am in total alignment with who I am, and I am on the path. Nothing will get in my way. No challenge is too big. I will smash through it to get to the life that I truly want and my truth of who I am. So again, give yourself a rating for that one, guys. So for courage, 0 to 10, be honest with yourself. The more honest you can be with yourself about the reality of the situation that you're in, the more likely you are to move forward and progress. Because ultimately, if you're pinning the wrong point where you are on the map, then you're not going to be able to create a path and a journey to get to where you really want to get to. You're going to be off track even in the beginning. So honesty is key here. Be realistic. Don't see things worse than they are. See them how they really are, and try your best not to see them too much better than they are. Be realistic. This is your time to be real with yourself, be honest with yourself, and work out exactly where you are on that map. So awesome, guys. Julie, thank you so much for putting in your ratings there. I appreciate you sharing. And yeah, so I think you've done that with consciousness. You're giving yourself a 5. I'm not sure what I want in life. I don't have the passion, and I hope to find it. Definitely, Julie. And I encourage you to get on a 15-minute power session with me for that. I'll help you with any little roadblocks that could potentially unlock and unleash that new level of consciousness for you. And Anne, thank you so much. I always can count on you to follow along. And you've got an 8 in courage. You're kind of rocking it in these first 2 cornerstones. I love it, Anne. Thank you so much. And Natalie, nice to have you. And Graham, you're awesome. Thank you for giving yourself that rating of 7. Definitely, that's awesome that you're pinpointing on the map where you are. And also, Stefan, 7 out of 10. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so guys, keep following along. Keep giving the ratings. Keep doing the work, because it's in the action that you break through. So, the 3rd cornerstone of empowerment to lead you toward an extraordinary quality of life is connection. So you might be sort of tagging along. These are the 4 C's, the 4 cornerstones. So connection is all about, surrounding yourself. I'm always bringing up Jim Rohn's quote that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, because it's so valuable. And if we're human beings, we need connection. We need great quality connection, whether that be in your intimate circle, in your friendship circle, in your family, in the society, in your community. Who are the people that you're surrounding yourself with? Who are you connecting with? You've got to value this area. So I want to ask you to give yourself a rating from 0 to 10 about the quality of connections that you are generating in your life. And it does include how you're showing up in your connections. You've got to be intentional. So ultimately, a 0 is I have no positivity in my life. I have no real connection to anything that's really empowering or people that nurture and support and challenge me to be my best self. And 10 is I am surrounded by the most extraordinary quality of friends, family, people, partners, and ultimately we inspire the best out of each other. We encourage each other to be our best and continue to grow. We support each other to do that. We are just on fire with one another. So give yourself a rating there, and definitely think about that connection element. Like if we don't have great quality connections with ourselves and with others, then we struggle to find fulfillment and a good, extraordinary quality of our life. So I hope that this is making sense how I'm explaining it. And love it, Sterling. Nobody puts baby in the corner. Love it. All right. Graham, what your rating? You asking me what my ratings are here? Yeah, that's a good question. And after I go through this, I'll share with you a little bit deeper into my world if you're interested. That'd be awesome. And Stefan, awesome. And Brett, thank you for joining. Great to have you guys. So that was the 3rd cornerstone for connection. Incorporate who are you surrounding yourself with, and what are the quality of those connections like in conjunction with how you're showing up in your relationships, how good you feel about the kind of connection you're providing for others as well. All right, and the last of the 4 cornerstones is so important in order to generate fulfillment in our lives, and that is contribution. Contribution is all about getting outside of ourselves and feeling like we make a real difference in the lives of others. It doesn't have to be on the huge, wide international scale. It could just be in your relationship with your partner. It could be in your relationship with your children, with your family, with your community, in your workplace, wherever that is. What is that sense of contribution? Like your life matters. Like you really go out of your way to make a real difference in the life of others. This is that legacy piece. Like, what do you want to be remembered for? And are you living in alignment with your higher self, the kind of person that, people are inspired by, that you really, their lives are lit up because you're a part of it. So I want you to give yourself a rating again from 0 to 10 in terms of what's your sense of contribution? Do you feel like at a 0, my life doesn't matter, I make no real difference, in fact, I'm probably a burden? Or do you feel like a 10 out of 10, which is, wow, like, I feel like every single moment I am stepping up to a new level of contribution and I am serving at my highest capacity. I am sharing my higher self with those around me and inspiring them to be the best versions of themselves that they can be. All right, so yeah, again, be really honest with yourself here, and I love it. Just want to check in with you, Anne. I'm so grateful for you following along here. You're a 7 in connections. Personal circle has minimal people but learn daily from books and online and mentors. Yes, definitely. We live in such an age where we've got such access to incredible people that we can be surrounding ourselves with, even if they're not in our actual physical proximity. So I love that you're doing that, Anne. That's awesome. And yes, Graham, okay, I'll share that for sure if you're interested. I love it. And a 7 with contribution. That is awesome. I'm really grateful to hear this, Anne, that you are really stepping it up in the 4 cornerstones. And ultimately, once we know where we are, what my challenge to you is to define what a 10 looks like to you in each of the 4 cornerstones. What does a 10 out of 10 look like in your consciousness? What does a 10 out of 10 look like for you in your courage? What does a 10 out of 10 look like for you in your connections? And lastly, what does a 10 out of 10 look like in your sense of contribution? So ultimately what that does is allow you to pinpoint exactly where you are, identify exactly where you want to get to, and then the final step in this process is to identify just one step in each of those 4 key areas, those 4 cornerstones that you could start taking today that will ultimately allow you to close the gap from where you are to where you want to get to. All right, so I hope that is valuable. Just a quick sort of little mini training here for you guys with something that I know is hugely beneficial. And ultimately, it's those 4 cornerstones that have allowed me to feel like the best time of my life is right here, right now. And I hope that never ever changes. And I'm determined to, continue to do the work to close those gaps between where I am and where I want to get to. And, ultimately, Graham, I want to let you know I'll just quickly run through what mine are at this moment. And I haven't done it for about a month, so this will be just rolling on the fly. Consciousness for me right now is better than it's ever been in my entire life. Like knowing where I am, knowing where I want to get to is phenomenal. Like I've never accessed this level before. So I would say right now my level of consciousness is at a 9, but again, like there's always room to move. Like I'm never going to give you a 10 out of 10 for any of these. And that's just my perspective. That's how I operate. For my level of courage, that to me is I feel more courageous in some areas of my life than others, but we kind of operate in the same way in other areas as in every area. So it's a funny thing to think that, but I'll probably do some work on that a little bit later actually. And for my courage at the moment, I think I'm only at a 7, if I'm really honest with you. There's some parts in my life where I'm feeling some fear and I'm not taking the action that I know I need to take, but I'm on the path to mend that and definitely move forward from there. So yeah, that's my honest truth. Probably a 7 in my courage department, and that's something that I'm constantly having to check back in with, because we can so easily fall into this path where we fall into past patterns of just holding back and not stepping fully into our truth. And I know that courage piece is where I'm at, and I'm constantly breaking through. So I'm probably about a 7 out of 10 for that one. Connections right now in different areas, I would probably say I'm at probably a 7 towards an 8. There's definitely some more work that I could be doing there in terms of up-leveling my connections, and I'm working on that every day. So I love that. And my sense of contribution, again, I feel like I'm stepping it up, but there's much more for me to access. So again, I'd probably say about a 7 to an 8, 7.5 as well. So I've got some room for improvement. That's my brutal honesty for you guys out there. I am constantly on this journey of progression and self-growth and up-leveling my levels of consciousness, my levels of courage, my levels of connection, and definitely contribution. And I appreciate all of you so much who allow me to step more fully into each of those areas. So appreciate you guys. I hope that was helpful, me sharing a little bit of mine as well. Thank you for the question, Graham. And I don't know what my subject for tomorrow is. Guys, with my Facebook Lives, I ultimately roll with it. You know, I'm a big believer in trusting what comes up for me, because when I tap into the truth of what comes up for me, what I'm passionate about, what I'm emotionally charged about, then ultimately if I share that, I feel like my response has been, I'm more connected to you guys when I'm sharing from my truth, rather than trying to manufacture what strategy I'll come up with tomorrow. So that's just how I operate. So can't give you total clarity on what I'll be talking about tomorrow, Graham, but I always invite each and every one of you to share with me if there's anything that is really key to you right now. If there's some sort of topic that you'd be loving to hear more about, then definitely let me know. And I let a lot of my inspiration come from the questions that I get from you guys. When I see those patterns, I start tapping into myself, and then I share. So I like to be more in flow with it and roll with it. So you guys let me know. And Belinda, nice to have you. And Josue, thank you. And Jamal and James, David, awesome. And yes, here come. Jimrone said, time is more valuable than money. Definitely is. Couldn't agree more with that. And lastly, a 10 in consciousness would be my business having great success, girls feeling satisfied. Yeah, love it. 10 in courage would be regular speaking in public. Love it. And I love that you're stepping it up there, Anne. I've noticed that you've been getting on the videos, so I'll engage with you and check out what you're doing there. And a 10 in connection would be collaborating with many other strong people. I love it. And this is such a powerful exercise for you to get more clarity and direction, and therefore feel that sense of progress by taking that action. So I hope that today's message has resonated with you guys. I hope that, you know, being introduced to the 4 cornerstones of empowerment to create that extraordinary quality of life is something of value to you. And I hope that you go along with this process, give yourself some honest feedback, give yourself a rating, don't stop there, identify what a 10 out of 10 looks like so that you have more clarity, more direction, and then I encourage you to make that step and start closing the gap. And if you need any assistance with that, make sure you jump on a 15-minute power session with me. I'd love to help you with this process, or any struggle that you're currently going through, help you break through to that new level of fulfillment, engagement in life, and excitement for life and energy. So definitely let me know. And I've loved having all of you guys here. Thank you for everybody who's engaged and said hey, and I love you all so much, and I cannot wait to see you guys tomorrow.